Am I live? Well, I think I'm live. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. It's been a long time since I've done a live stream, and even back when I was doing them like every weekend, there would always be changes to the format from on YouTube's end. Now there was a lot of changes, so all right, I finally made it back up. What time is it? 7 o'clock. Jeez. I started the process on this at 6. So I've been in here for an hour getting set up here. So bear with me. I still got to set up my chat page so I can see what you guys are trying to communicate to me. Let's see. Click out of here. Some things never change. I always start out rough. I don't think there's actually any way to start a live stream without the hiccup of getting the live chat up and going. A lot of the live streams that I watch, they'll have more than one person, and they'll usually dedicate a person to just doing what I'm trying to do right now. But, all right. Almost started here. Just almost started. Uh-oh, now I gotta just almost click that off so I don't have an echo. All right, looks like we already have people in the live chat. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my lovely wife the moderator here. She already is the moderator. Duh. Well, if she can hear me, I'm going to tell her to turn down the volume because I can hear her listening to this show all the way from downstairs. All right. I think we're good. All right. How's everyone doing? How's your Friday going? What am I thinking? I'm trying to take my glasses off as if I don't need them. All right, real quick, I'm just going to say hello to everybody that's in the live chat already. So we got Ian Ramirez, LT Outdoorsman, Utah Mike, Homestead Healing, Marcus Sellers, River Rat 621. Did I already say Marcus Sellers? Marcus Sellers. Great. All right. PNW Farm Dog. All right. Well, hello, everyone. Hey, it's been a while. I think it's been at least 3 months or something since I've done a live stream. But it's good to be back. I thought I'd go ahead and just do it because I wasn't able to get a proper video out this weekend. And I am really trying my best to stick to what I promised you guys about getting a video out once a week. The podcast thing is just, that's another story. That's a little trickier because I have to get my wife involved in that and trying to get her to commit. It's all her fault. No, the issue is just trying to, when we're doing that podcast, is that we have to get our kids downstairs and doing something, usually like watching a movie, so that they don't interfere with that podcast. So that's the real trick, and it's just it can be very challenging just trying to get that going. But we've been really busy too, so it's been difficult. But so far so good. I haven't gone more than 2 weeks without putting a video out for you guys. So that was I was guilty of doing that quite a bit. So I apologize for that, but still, just that is my New Year's resolution. Going to try and commit to a video once a week. The only thing that's that stands in the way of that is my full-time job. It's just, because I'm still painting houses, and sometimes I get on these projects that just eat up every last second of my time. And when that happens, it's just, I got to be focused on that. And then, still it got to, be there for my family as well. So trying to squeeze in a video when I got the job going and all that is a little tricky. Especially it's like I want to put out a good video, Uh, worst case scenario, I end up kind of doing, slapping something together and I'll do like a quick, little video in like an iFac or something stupid like that. But I don't really like doing videos like that. It's just, it's not really good for the channel. It's not fair for people who are following me to watch some stupid video. So I try to really go out of my way and do good content. The other thing is that I'm just not good at like talking in front of a camera. And a lot of times you'll see these videos where it seems like I'm really good, but you don't realize there's like 300 outtakes, to one of those videos just like that. And the worst was the last one I did, which was on the solar generator, because that's like a topic that I don't even know. It's like not even my wheelhouse. So trying to do a full video on something that I'm really not that familiar with, like electricity and watts and solar power and amps, it's really tricky. So it requires like a lot of studying and research, and then and then just being able to deliver a video and make it have it make sense is just, it's tricky. So that last solar generator video is probably the last one I'm going to do. It's hard to make them interesting too. It's not really my thing, but they're really hard to pass up, because EcoFlow, and their EcoFlow is really nice. There's a lot of companies that I pass up, but EcoFlow is so nice and just kind of kick back with me that it's hard not to take them up on their offers. Plus they offer, really, really nice stuff. So, but either way, I probably won't be doing two more of those unless I do something. I was thinking, if I do like a small cabin build, which is probably in the future, I'd actually made a post about doing what's called a lodger's cabin, something like that, but a real simple A-frame cabin I'm gonna do up on my property probably this spring. I'll try to start it. We'll see how my budget is. But it's actually it looks like from the plans, like a pretty easy, low budget build. So if I do something like that, I'll definitely implement some type of solar system into that cabin. And then I might have to get EcoFlow back involved in that. Maybe we'll see. But hopefully, that would be a lot of fun. Not only making the video, but just to have that cabin. So, but for those of you who are familiar with these podcasts, you will know I'm not like the kind of guy, I'm not going to get into politics too much, even though a lot of crazy stuff has happened, in the political atmosphere, or what do you call it, the political sphere, since my last live stream. But just YouTube is so heavily censored as a platform, it's hard for me to really say anything about politics, honestly. I mean, most of the stuff they censor too, it's like they're just censoring the stuff that's like a true threat to them, that really exposes them. So that's one of the reasons why I just don't touch into politics. I just would be using a bunch of euphemisms and I'd be curtailing my my speech so much I don't even think I would get my opinion across. So I just stay away from it for that reason. But yeah, these shows, it's usually the point of me doing these live streams is just to connect with you guys and interact with you guys, see what's going on, let me know what's happening. And you guys, you can tell me what your political takes are, and I'll see if I can respond to stuff. I think YouTube is actually it's kind of been pretty laid back on their censoring. I've been noticing there's like some shows that I watch actually on YouTube that I'm shocked that YouTube is still providing a platform for them. So it's good to see that. I think my suspicion is that TikTok had a lot to do with that, because TikTok was just giving YouTube such a run for its money because of its free speech platform, and a lot of these other platforms like Rumble and stuff that are coming up. A lot of people started going over to those platforms. It was really starting to give YouTube a run for their money, and so they started kind of retreating a little bit on their censorship stuff. So it was good to see that. But either way, I'm still not going to touch on anything like that. Like I said, I've mentioned this before in other videos. If I ever was to go in that direction, it wouldn't be on here. I'll probably just go over to my Rumble channel. But if any of you have ever ventured over Rumble, over to Rumble, you'll see that I have a channel. I kind of got one started over there, but there's some real weird stuff going on with their, like, uploading videos over there is really tricky. Like, I can't seem to upload anything over like 10 minutes. It takes forever for anything to upload, and when it does, it comes out really grainy. It's just bad picture quality. So I'm actually right now, I'm in the works. I'm communicating with somebody, one of the reps over there, and my suspicion is just going to be something like I'm going to have to pay in order to have like a proper channel over there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not really that, honestly, that motivated to even get into anything controversial, to be honest. Sometimes, I'll get really opinionated and I'll be tempted to want to head over there and start making videos, but it's not all that important. But I will say, as far as like the latest thing to have happened is with the helicopter and the plane crash. I guess the latest update that I've heard is that the remote control ability that helicopter had, I guess they determined it was utilized. So that's crazy. And just from anybody was following that, you can tell like there's something not right going there. The whole notion that was just an accident is really, really difficult to believe. So if you guys have any insight on that, you can go ahead and let me know in the comment section. I'm going to scroll down here and see. Okay, it's interesting. I have comments coming up on my phone because I'm recording with my phone right here. I got my laptop over here. I got different comments coming up on my phone that are different from my laptop. Let's see who else has come into the fold here. We got Northbound Overland Adventures. So yeah, a lot of these names are starting to look pretty familiar. Maynard Watkins, I say that right? LT Outdoorsman, he's an OG. Justin S. Jeff Kilgore. Teresa Buchanan. Yeah, hit the like button. Can't read that one. Blowing shit up. Yo from Oklahoma. Cool. Yeah, so these live streams are just kind of to connect with you guys. But like I said in the live stream, I think it went through when I was putting in the title. I am going to talk a little bit about what I'm stocking up on, because I've been actually doing a lot of Costco runs, and I've been wanting to kind of document them, but they're just not quite like video worthy. A lot of the Costco runs and big Amazon orders that I've been putting in, but I wanted to share with you some of the stuff that I'm kind of focusing on because of certain events that I'm kind of predicting are going to happen. And this is the one thing that I will say. I really am predicting that we're going to see some type of event, and it's going to be an event to justify us going back to the Middle East. And my fear or my suspicion is that it's going to be something that is going to far exceed anything we've ever seen. It's going to be worse than 9/11. I'm honestly not just saying this to fear porn or freak you guys out or anything, but that really is my gut feeling is that, see, I told you it's tricky to talk about this stuff, um, and curtail my speech here, but I'll say those that want us to go over and basically invade Iran and finish up on this Middle East invasion that started in 2001, um, they really want us back in Iran. And I feel like, the support for the war means people are so worn out about it. And I mean, I don't think, I can't think of anybody that wants to be, wants to still be over there fighting those wars. And so I feel like the powers that be are going to generate another situation that's going to, make it so that we have to go back there. And that situation is going to be really ugly and catastrophic. And so I will say with wars, because there is something that I do notice, and we've all noticed, that happens when these, when just the potential for war, when they start talking about it, happens is you start to see ammo shortages. And one thing that people don't realize, what you really see, I may have mentioned this before, is shortages on medical supplies. So IFACs like this, these start selling like crazy. They actually become hard to come by. Many of you probably don't realize that, but I actually sell these. I used to sell them on eBay. I kind of got away from eBay just because I just don't like that selling platform over there. But I would sell them on Etsy. And when we went to war in Ukraine, when we got involved in the Ukraine conflict, these things, I couldn't even hold on to them. They were just flying off the shelf. And I actually had people messaging me to see how many I could actually get for them. And I couldn't even make these things fast enough. So, and then the products became like, all of the contents for these kits got really difficult to come by, and then all the prices started going up. And so I kind of moved away from it. It was just kind of hard to keep up with that demand. But and I was kind of afraid to like overinvest. I was tempted to just go and drop a bunch of money and just make, hundreds of these things. But I wasn't sure if that thing, was going to end. I didn't want to end up in a situation where I just, had like hundreds of these kits and I couldn't move them. But I will tell you, just from the standpoint of like making sure that you have medical supplies, if you don't think you're fully stocked on medical supplies, stock up on them now, because I think moving into the future, we're going to see some like major conflicts start popping off. And so this is one of the things, a lot of people just think of ammo flying off the shelves, but medical supplies is definitely another thing that starts flying off the shelves. Now, the other thing that in just the last month that I've been focusing on is my comms, because it's an area that I'm not real weak in, but I just want to just be stronger in that area. So I've actually went ahead and I've ordered some more of these Baofeng UV5Rs. Now, these are great radios. This is a ham radio. You guys are probably all familiar with this. And the thing is, if you don't have a ham license, you cannot transmit on this radio, no matter what frequency you're on. So that was even something that I actually wasn't clear about, because I thought if you had like an FRS frequency on here, which is Family Radio Service, it's like a free frequency for anybody to transmit on. I thought you could actually transmit on that frequency, on an FRS frequency from this radio, but you actually can't. You're not allowed to transmit at all from these radios. That's why when you buy these things, they actually come locked. So you can program frequencies and listen to frequencies, but you're not allowed to transmit on them. So I think there's a lot of videos out there where guys show you how to program these things and unlock them, but I will say that not very many of those channels are stressing the fact that it's illegal to transmit on these things. And you don't want to be doing that. I mean, unless it's like a dire emergency, then yeah, I mean, then you can transmit if you have to, GMRS or other ham frequencies on here. But you shouldn't be messing around with these things. Get one of these radios and unlocking it, and then, you know, basically potentially making it so that you end up interfering on an emergency channel, and you know, somebody could get hurt. So just keep that in mind when you're buying these radios and you're unlocking them and programming them. Just remember, these are for, if you don't have a ham license, you can only listen. But they're really important because listening is an extremely important part to communication, right? And so that's where these come in handy. Get these radios so that you can implement your emergency frequencies on here and other frequencies, and then that way you have a nice powerful radio that you can, you know, listen to what's going on. So that's why these are important for those of us who don't have a ham license, but we want to kind of keep tabs. Now, if you want a radio that you do want to transmit on with your family, friends, your team, in my opinion, these are the radios. These basic GMRS radios. And the reason why I like these is because they're simple. So you'll notice here, you just got 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons, and then the up and down buttons right here. The reason why I like that, and one of these buttons is a lock. So you can, let's say your family plan is that you guys are all going to be communicating on channel 5. You can put channel 5 in here real easy. Just turn it on and go to channel 5, right? Here, I'll show you.
Welcome, 5.
See, I'm already on channel 5. Go to channel 5, and then you go to the lock feature.
Lock.
There, it's locked. Now I can hand these over to my kids, my wife, friends. I don't even have to teach them. Just go, look, all you got to do is just push the button right here to talk on and off, and they can't get in trouble. Whereas, like, you know, you hand them any type of radio like this with all these buttons, they, you know, they start pushing stuff, and they can, I mean, you can actually reset the factory settings on here with like 2 clicks if you don't know what you're doing. I mean, it's really easy to screw yourself up and actually delete all of your programming on one of these radios. Ask me how I know that. But that's why I like these radios, because they're real simple, very little buttons. You can give this to somebody who's not familiar with the radio, and they're not going to go screwing anything up. So the other thing is, with these radios, you get pretty good long distance, and if you have a repeater in your area, you can get even longer distance. The only thing about these radios, you do need a license, but it's simple. You just go over to the FCC, you fill out a little form, you pay them the $40 or whatever, it's like for 10 years, and you and your whole family and anybody that you know can actually communicate on these radios. And then the other reason why I like these is because they get you into a frequency that's not going to be crowded during like SHDF. So yeah, those are pretty much the main reasons. Simple to use, good long distance, long range, easy to transmit on, and not going to be a lot of interference. Oh, it's cold in here. It is a pantry. I think I used to have a little temperature in here, but I'm guessing it's about 50 degrees in here right now. My coffee's already cold. So yeah, we've gone over communication. So I'll show you some of the other things I just bought. So I just got 2 more of those radios because they're so cheap. That's the other thing. They're super cheap. So I bought a couple more. So now me and my wife and then my 2 oldest kids all have our own radios. And then I bought some antennas for these because, again, that's another thing to keep in mind. I will say this, when it comes to handheld radios, your antennas, having a high quality antenna is extremely important. So you can have a really good radio, But if you have a crappy antenna, you're not going to be able to hear anything. You can have a crappy radio and a good antenna, and you'll be able to get long range. And basically, a good antenna will make a crappy radio a good radio. So that's how important it is to have a good antenna. And the antennas that I like are these. I mean, I can recommend a few, but the Nagoya NA771 antennas, VHF, UHF antennas here that I keep on these UV 5Rs are really good antennas. So get a good antenna. Don't use the ones they give you. Just go ahead and get a good antenna. And for these radios, I'll make sure, I haven't put it in the description yet, but I'll make sure to link the right antenna, because this is kind of a unique antenna for these radios. Yeah, what was the other thing? Got a new programming cable. So this is let's see what I get here. Oh yeah, programming cable for the ham radio here. So that's another thing I'm learning. I actually have a family member who has their ham license, and they're really geeked out on it. And but it's almost like when you're kind of getting into it, listening to the super experienced people, it's not very helpful, because they're using terminology that's just way advanced, and it's hard to keep up with a lot of those guys when you're just starting out. But it is definitely something that I'm working to kind of improve my skill level on. So I got that programming cable, and I'm gonna start learning how to program these radios myself, just a little bit better. The guy, now, just so you guys know, and this is another thing I actually just learned, you can buy these pre-programmed. And I'll leave some links to different websites, but there are people, you just let them know where you are, what your county is, and they will set these up for you. You buy the radio, and then for a small fee, it's like $20 or something like that, they'll program this radio for you. It'll be locked, so you can't transmit, but that's okay. Unless you have a ham license, then you can provide that information to prove that you have your license, and then they'll unlock it for you. But yeah, companies will actually program these for you to your area. So I'll leave a link in the description for that if you guys want to go that route. Now, let's see, medical. Always got my Jace medical. This is a definitely important kit, and Jace has really stepped up their game with the different antibiotics and medications that they're offering. So they're offering ivermectin now, and what's the other one? Fenbendazole, something like that. Just a lot of more anti-parasitical drugs that they're offering. The only thing is they're all human grade, obviously. So you're going to be paying a lot more for the human grade stuff than the pet stuff. But I know a lot of people do that route. I actually have a neighbor that does the pet grade stuff, and it's tempting because it is so much cheaper. And with the ivermectin, especially the what do you call it? Like the period of time that you should be, that's recommended to be on an anti-parasitical drug like that to do a full treatment it's pretty long. It's longer than I actually realized. And so I got some, but I didn't get enough to actually complete like a full proper treatment. So, and I'm not really willing to spend like another $140 or whatever it costs to get it from them. But other than that, Jace is really good, and you should always definitely have a supply of antibiotics stocked up as well. Let's see here. Oh, the other thing I got, this is really cool, are these oil lanterns. So I found these online. They're super cheap. I bought 2 of them. They're $15, They had bad reviews, but I don't know, the people I think that were leaving the bad reviews just weren't using these things properly. But a lot of people were saying these things were leaking. I haven't opened up this one. I opened up another one, which is up on my shelf now. Tried it out. It didn't leak on me. It seems to be good. I can see why, you got to be careful with these things. You don't want them to like tip over and spill out because it'd make a mess. And but lamp oil isn't that flammable. So I mean, it would catch fire, but it's not like gasoline or kerosene or something. But you just use this basic lamp oil for these, and these are like not only bright. I was like testing them out, turning off all the lights in the house just to see, how bright it would be. And these things were surprisingly bright. And not only that, it just kind of gives like a much better ambiance, having these light up your house than a bunch of, electric lights. So I got these really cheap. It's just kind of a good option for lighting up your house. But not only that, heating. Like, because I was kind of curious. I was thinking, I wonder if these things would actually heat a room too. And they do actually. I mean, these things will not only put out a lot of light, especially when you turn the wick way up, but they actually put out a lot of heat. And I could definitely see, one of these heating up like a tent or something like that. But you got to be careful. I wouldn't recommend bringing one of these into a tent with you. You get into a lot of trouble, not only with fires, but I definitely don't think it's a good idea to be breathing in the fumes from an oil lamp. So yeah, I think that was pretty much it that I bought on Amazon. Bought some more medical tape, so I bought a whole case of these. This basic stretch tape here. And then what else? The other thing I'm working on, let's see, I'll put these radios over here. But the other thing I'm working on is I'm putting together kind of like a patrol loadout. And this is why I kind of titled this show Prepared Citizen. So this is kind of like my version. I'm working on it right now, but the Prepared Citizen kind of a patrol loadout. So we got a big chest rig here, holds a bunch of mags. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this will hold 6 30-round magazines here. And then I have a 72-hour kit right here that will kind of accompany that loadout. And so, like I said, I'm just kind of in the process of putting this together. Got a balaclava right here, only because it's super cold right now where I am. And got a basic blowout kit. So these are actually one of the things I was selling on eBay. I got to relist these and put these back on my Etsy store because these are really cool little kits to have. But basically, it's just a tourniquet, got a glow stick, have some trauma shears, and then I put some gloves, some nitrile gloves on the bottom here with some disinfectant wipes. And then I got this IR med patch here. And that's got the molly, so you can hook this either to your plate carrier, your belt, or your backpack, or whatever. But I sell these for, I think these are like $30, $35, something like that. But I haven't even listed these yet, so I should list those. Let's see, what is the other thing I'm kind of putting together? That's pretty much it. But yeah, I've just been kind of getting ready for this winter. The other thing, oh yeah, ammo. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. I did bring it up, but it is something that you should stock up on for sure. I mean, these are the things that definitely tend to fly off the shelves when we get involved in any type of conflict, any type of war, ammo and medical. So now's the time because it's still plentiful. Get your mags and your ammo. I don't know if I can actually. I think showing mags and ammo are okay on a live stream, but I know I can't touch my rifle, so you guys can see it over there. But part of YouTube's terms of service with the live streams, I'm not allowed to actually hold a rifle on a live stream. I don't know why. I'm guessing it's because people have done things probably to themselves or others with firearms on live streams. So, and then of course food, obviously, but lately I haven't really seen anything become scarce. I know we were going through. I guess eggs are a scarce. A lot of times we go through these food shortages, and I have no idea because we're just so stocked up on our own food, and we get our own eggs from our chickens. So if there's food shortages going on, I probably don't know of them. But the one thing I have noticed is going through the roof is beef is just like red meat. Like it's insane. I was at Costco today and it was like, what did they want? It was like $75 for 6 steaks or something like that. Crazy. So didn't buy that, and even the ground beef was really ridiculously overpriced. So fortunately, I stocked up on a lot of that. I got a box freezer over here that's just filled with beef, and I'm like the only person in my family. Me and my daughter, my oldest daughter, are pretty much the only ones that eat red meat, but nobody else eats it. So, oh well. Maybe if things get really bad, I'm sure they'll all become meat eaters. I'm sure all those petty little food allergies will probably go away when there's a food crisis. So, yeah, I still got this 25-pound sack of rice here that's been sitting on a 5-gallon bucket, waiting for me to seal up in Mylar. But yeah, I think that's pretty much most of the stuff I got. Like I said, I've been doing tons of Costco runs. I mean, it's got a lot of food. I'm all stocked up on canned food. So pretty much all we're buying here is just the stuff that's really perishable, like vegetables. We'll go to the store and buy the condiments that the kids eat a lot of ketchup, stuff like that. So, but yeah, good on toilet paper. I'm good on flour, rice, beans, salt, sugar, coffee. We're solid. Speaking of coffee, this one needs a refresher. All right, we'll check in on the chat here. Let's see where we left off. What is the range of those? So the range on these is about 3 to 5 miles. So I've gotten 5 miles on these in some pretty rough terrain too. So, but yeah, 3 to 5 miles from radio to radio. Especially if you have good antennas, like I said, definitely 5 miles easy. So that's usually what the manufacturer will tell you, like right out of the box, it's 3 to 5 miles. But putting a good antenna on here is going to guarantee you 5 miles. What are your thoughts on the rapid radios? I'm not sure what those are. I mean, I'm not really a radio guy. Like, I know the stuff that I know, and I that's about it. But it is one area I think communication is like probably one of the most important and yet overlooked parts of a prepper's preparedness plan. It's just because it can be kind of boring, for sure. Sitting through, I mean, I've sat through like hours of videos of these guys just geeking out on radios, and it can, and it's almost like they never get to the point. It's hard to get I have certain questions in my mind, and you got to sit through hours just waiting, hoping that somebody will answer the questions that you have. Let's see. I'm gonna scroll through here. Yeah, I just haven't. I didn't do. I think the last like live stream I did. I don't know. I think I got like most of the people that go on my live streams. You know, it's like you guys know what my live stream's about. They're kind of boring. They're not going to be as exciting and as entertaining as my videos. Usually, because these are totally off the cuff. I don't really plan these things out. I mean, I just wrote like a basic, stupid list of things to talk about, and then I just rely on you guys in the chats to kind of keep the show going. So it's not for everybody, but usually the live stream will air, and then I start getting a lot of comments, people getting angry that it's boring. Are you hitting a repeaters with those radios? No. No, I'm not. Not where I am, unfortunately. So, and I've looked into like putting up a repeater. They actually have some basic repeaters. I don't know enough about it, but I know you don't want to go cheap on the repeaters. They actually have some like decent like so repeaters that you can buy, and they run off solar, and but the reviews are kind of mixed, and it almost kind of sounds like if you want like a real proper repeater in your area that really works and puts the signals out, it's a lot more difficult than you think. So one, you got to get the space, you got to get a nice place to put it, so you got to get it up on a mountain, and usually where there's already a lot of antennas and cell towers and stuff, and so you got to pay for that a space on that mountaintop. And then to have a good repeater, it costs a lot of money, and it costs money to maintain them too, because usually you're renting a space, and so therefore that's why a lot of repeaters, they'll create like a group, and then you have a group of people in the area that all chip in to pay for that service, and you guys all keep the when that happens, those people will usually just keep the transmission codes to themselves, unless you want to buy into it. But what brand model? It's a Baofeng. These GMRS are Baofeng. Stock up on tractors. I wish I had stock up on tractor money. I'd stock up on tractors. What range are you hunting at? What is the terrain and foliage? Hunting? You mean like the zone that I'm in? I don't know if I want to give that info out, but most people know. Like, I'm in Kootenai County. I'll tell you guys that I'm in Kootenai County of Idaho. So I've run into a couple fans of the show. It's always fun. Sometimes I see people that like I can tell I don't know if they're looking at me because they think they know me from somewhere else, or they know me from the show. But I did catch one guy not too long. It was kind of creepy. This one guy was just like stalking me. I was like at the sporting goods store, like at Black Sheep, kind of our local sporting goods store, and there's one guy was kind of stalking me, and I was thinking, yeah, is the guy stalking me? I couldn't tell, and kept I kept catching him like looking, and then I caught him taking a picture. So I was like, I'm hoping that was a fan that was just scared. Hopefully, it wasn't like a fed like building his case against me or something. Yeah. I'm just reading some stuff here. Bear with me. Guns and buns. Does it reach over hills or does it have to be line of sight? Wife left the phone at a friend's last night and we couldn't communicate when I ran errands. It depends on, it should go over hills, like basic hills. I mean, it's not going to go over a mountaintop, but basic hills for sure. Because like where we live, we're in a pretty heavily wooded area. I mean, it's like windy roads through pretty good size, hills. I wouldn't call them mountains. We're all surrounded by mountains. If I was on the other side of the main mountain to the east of us, yeah, no, we wouldn't be able to communicate. One, we'd just be too far, but that mountain would just, yeah. But basic hills should do it. But I would just say, when you get these radios or any radio, just experiment with them, see what you can do with them. So I've gone, I've pretty much in our community, I've gone everywhere. I've done almost like a 360 and I've been able to transmit. I just, test these things out with my wife or my oldest child, and we'll test these things out and just see what kind of range we can get with them. But I would just say definitely do that. Just in time, LOL. Okay. Sometimes I'll read these comments and you guys are just talking amongst yourselves, so I'm trying to like filter through those and not read comments that aren't really intended for me here. Blister tape. I need to buy some blister tape, Annie G. I'm out. You mean like moleskin? Moleskin's important. Yeah, I got moleskin in my bag. So like this bag, which I've been waiting to do like a full review video on this bag. This is like my new, I guess you could call it a bug out bag. It's like an inch pack, but really this, I could bug out with this bag. It's big. But really this bag is just designed to like when I go camping and I go out in the mountains to just set up tents, basically survive, do practice survival skills, bushcrafting, things like that. I'll take this pack because it pretty much has everything I need. My sleeping bag, tent, food. I got snares in here. I pretty much got everything I need to last a very long time out in the wilderness. But I really just make this not so much from the standpoint of like emergencies. Like I didn't create this bag because I believed I was going to end up in a situation where I have to live out in the wilderness forever. I really made this bag to go out in the wilderness and have fun in bushcraft, and survive out there if I have to. But that's really what this pack is designed for, is just so I can go out in the mountains and spend a couple days out there and have fun. So that is what this pack is for. What was I going to show you? I was going to show you something. Let's see here. But there was something here. Scroll down here quick. Let's see. My ADD is so bad, you guys. Always forgetting what I was going to say. I'm hoping something will pop up here. Anyways, but yeah. I pretty much set this pack up. I'm going to be doing a review video on it, but it's just been so cold lately. And I want to do the video like outside where the lighting is good. Just have like nothing in, like nowhere in my house is the lighting good. And even when you go out and you buy all the lights that you need, it's still not good enough. So we'll see. I'm waiting for a day that I can go out and do a proper review on this bag, but I haven't even had a chance to take it out really at all. I did do that one video, the tent video, the winter bug out camp. I brought it out there and used it a little bit out there, but not really. I was just kind of utilizing the gear out of it, but I did sell that tent, the tent that was in that video. God, I'm almost kind of like glad to get that thing out of my life, because it was a nice tent, but it was massive. It was a massive tent. It was a 75-pound tent, and it was awkward to hold. Like, even when I had it all stuffed up in its stuff sack, that thing was just a pain to, to maneuver and deal with. And I think it just wrecked my back, basically carrying that tent so much for that video. So I was like, yeah, this one I think I'm gonna sell. So I have my canvas bell tent, my wood stove, the one wood stove tent that I have. So that's gonna be like pretty much my main wood stove tent. As nice as it is to have a tent that you can stand up in, is just way too much money, way too heavy, and it was kind of too much money. I ended up selling that tent for way less than half than what it's worth. And I mainly because I just wanted it to go. And then I realized when somebody bought it, I was like, oh man, I didn't have the shipping right. I don't know, like, this is another reason why I hate eBay, because I swear I entered in all the shipping info when I went to list that tent on eBay. I swear I put it correctly, and it wasn't. I ended up having to pay a lot more to get that tent shipped out. So in the end, it was whatever. I got what I got from it, but the thing is, like, with these videos where I'm very particular about, like, the stuff that I do reviews on, because if I'm not into something, I mean, number one, I'm just not going to be able to make a video on it. And I get asked to do stuff, like, I have companies, I mean, my email is just blown up with different companies trying to get me to do videos on things, and I'd say like 95% of the stuff I just pass up on, because I don't even know how I'd make it entertaining. So, I don't want to just do a video on something just for the sake of doing a video on it. The other thing that I did get, and I gotta at some point implement these into a video, because this is really a really important thing to have, is OC spray or pepper spray. So Palm Industries makes this. I did feature some of it, their products, in my get home bag video. This is my get home bag right here, and I keep some pepper spray in here. I think we can show pepper spray on a live stream. Well, I guess it's not in there. Maybe it's in here? Nope, I don't know where I put it. So I was getting ready to do a video on it. See, that's what happens. Especially when you become like a YouTuber on bug out gear, you end up robbing your bug out bags all the time because you're making videos and then you don't put stuff back. But anyways, Palm Industries sent me out a bunch of different samples of pepper spray. I don't know how you sample pepper spray. I guess I just got to like pick a fight or something, or find somebody, pay somebody to just take a shot to the face, tell me how it feels. I'm not going to do it. But anyways, I got these refill canisters right here. We got two of these basic. There's a keychain one, and then this looks like a belt clip one or something like that. And they got these little rings they give you, so it's like color indicators, so you can give one to your wife, daughter, son. You know, everybody in the family has a little pepper spray, but definitely important to have some non-lethal means of defense, you know, because not every threat type situation is going to justify a firearm. You know what I mean? So it's nice to have the option of having just kind of a non-lethal means of defense. So, you know, you just got some crazy person that's whatever getting too close to you. It's nice to have some of that. Plus, you just don't want to, you know, if you're not part of a protected class and the other person is, you definitely want a non-lethal means of defense. Or just run away. That's probably your best option, your first best option, if you can. Just get out of the situation as quickly as you can. But let's see what else. This Wubin flashlight here, I'm not very happy with. And they sent me out two, and this one was working good. And usually, again, with these companies, they'll send me stuff out, and then, you know, they'll kind of sometimes like push me to make the video, like, hey, you need to get this video out like soon, which is always makes me a little suspicious, because I'm thinking, why is this thing gonna break on me? Like, before I review it. But this flashlight, this was the Owl X3 or something like that. This started just taking a dump on me. Like, it was working fine for months, and then all of a sudden it's working right now, but it won't hold the charge. Like right now, it seems to be doing good. It looks like it's got a full charge, but all of a sudden, you know, I won't use this for a day. It'll just be in my closet, and then I go to use it, and it's dead, like right after I charged it. And then what I'll end up having to do is put it in the charger, and then it like turns it on, and it will work, and it will show that it does have a charge. I don't know what's going on. And then the wireless charger here, this magnetic charger that it's supposed to be able to charge from, doesn't work. So the only way I can charge this flashlight now is in the cradle that you have to buy actually separately, which looks like this. So this is a cool flashlight. I really wish that it wasn't giving me problems, because it's actually a really cool flashlight. But unfortunately, it is giving me problems. So I don't know if it's just the design of this flashlight, just a bad flashlight, or what. I know that Wubin has come out with, they've updated this model. It's gotten bigger. Maybe they worked out the quirks. I don't know. But the first one they sent me didn't work at all. And, you know, I'm all about giving people second chances. So I let them know. They sent me out a new one. Everything worked fine. I did a review. I recommended it. You know, I used it for a good month before I did the review. But then, like, you know, 3, 4, 5 months later, it starts giving me issues. So it's kind of a bummer. You know, you hate to see it, but I'll contact them, see what they can do. Maybe they'll send me out another one. I'm almost like wondering if maybe like they're just sending out like their whatever bottom of the barrel products to me, which I think would be stupid, because you don't want your, you know, subpar or whatever products be going to the guy that's going to review it online to potentially thousands and thousands of people. So I would, you know, hate to think they're sending me the crappy product, but it just seems kind of weird that two flashlights that I got are both having issues. Because I actually have a lot of Wubin flashlights, and I did end up having issues with another one. This one's still working good. This one's still working good. And the T50 model, which isn't in here, I bought like 8 of those. This is like, I was buying those before I even started doing YouTube. And just because they were such good, affordable flashlights. And all those worked good. The T50 series worked really well, except for one. Just the battery failed on it. And the batteries that these things come with are hard to come by. They're kind of big. They look like if you took like 2 CR123 batteries, which are those camera batteries, and stacked them on top of each other. That's basically the size. And I thought that I could actually get away with that. Just put like sub this battery out for, let's see if this one has it, but sub this battery out for just two CR213s, but it didn't work. But there is a flashlight. I think the stream lights, see that battery? The stream lights will actually do that. You can actually put one of these, what are these called? The ABD 4800. Is that what this is? Huh. Maybe that's the type of battery it is. Anyways, I actually did put one of these in a, I think it was a Streamlight or something that took two CR213s and it worked. I think that was what happened. Anyways, you know, Lubin's okay. They are cheap. You get what you pay for, you know. But let's see if this thing's even working right now. Oh, see, it works. Can't complain. So that one works. I've owned that one for a while. And this one definitely works. Although I'm kind of upset because this is their tactical T4. And it has this glass breaker ring right here. And the glass breaker came out. It's actually like screws on and off. I don't know why they made that even... why they even made that so that it had the option of screwing out. Just make it permanent. I mean, why? It's the whole thing is to have a glass breaker. So you, but anyways, it unscrewed and fell out. I don't know where it is. I'll never find that. It's super tiny. But yeah, so a lot of Woobin flashlights. All right, let's see where we're at with the post with the channel here. Let's see. Time is it? $8 o'clock. All right. We'll do a little bit longer and then we'll close out here. I'll read some comments here. See if I can answer some questions. How much do you spend a year on prepping items? Don't even ask. Now I spend a lot because I'm doing a channel. So I'm buying an obscene amount of prepping supplies. But before I started doing this channel, probably average amount. But, you know, most of my prepping supplies I procured in 2012, like when I first got into it. Mostly because I was like, you know, really into it because it was all new and it was exciting. And number one. Number two, I happened to be in a situation where I had a lot of money at that point in time because my overhead was so low. I was making a lot of money. I had just gotten out of debt. My overhead was really low. And so that was some good times. Like that was in 2012, 2011, 2012. I was just like going crazy. And I guarantee you, like the amount of stuff that I was buying definitely put me on some kind of list. I guarantee you, it was crazy because I was buying plate carriers, 30 round like cases of like 30 round mags, like tons of ammos. And this is like back, you know, when Amazon, you could buy a lot of this stuff on Amazon. You could buy plate carriers. I think you could buy plates on Amazon. You could buy, you could probably buy like upper receivers, I almost want to say. Now you can't hardly buy anything. But yeah, I was buying a lot of stuff. Bought a lot, you know, bought all of my AR platforms, pretty much all the rifles. Most of the guns I have now, I bought in 2011, 2012, 2013. I was just like in buying frenzy. So all my bug out bags I bought in that time, gas masks. So yeah, I definitely had to have gotten put on a list for sure. USMC Devil Dog. What's up, brother? What's up, buddy? Another plane crash tonight in Philly. Oh, really? I didn't hear that. That's crazy. Wow. Homestead Healing says, I think so. Two, it was a small jet, though. Yeah, well, I mean, last thing I heard, like I said, the beginning of the live stream was that the remote control apparatus on the Blackhawk was utilized. So if you guys watch any of those videos, they have the track. They were tracking that helicopter like it was going after planes. That's nuts. What's really weird is it just doesn't make it just doesn't make any sense. The other thing I heard is that it, like, where the helicopter took off from was an area where I guess another helicopter that was involved in the Las Vegas shooting took off from. So a very suspicious area where these choppers were taking off from. Yeah, there definitely a lot of weird stuff. Not only like just surrounding, what happened, but it just weird. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't even see what the motive, other than I guess there were some high ranking officials that were on the plane. So there's some like speculation about who was on that plane. So we'll see. I doubt us plebs are going to get the actual real deal scoop on anything. We don't even get the real deal scoop on stuff that happened 100 years ago. I'm going to go up to the top here and just kind of see a bunch of stuff that I may have missed from you guys. Oh, Crypto Rick is in the thread. I don't see you. I just see somebody. Homestead Healing said she saw you. I don't see him. Did he check out? Some of these names I just can't even pronounce, so I'm not going to try. Teresa Buchanan says hi to Homestead Healing. Oh, there he is. Crypto Rick. There he is. What's up, buddy? Long time. Here's an OG. Probably from day one. First live stream I ever had. Tommy's Path says I'm horrible with comms. I know. I was horrible with comms too. I'm not still, and it just bugged me that I was just terrible with it. So I'm really making an effort to educate myself on radio frequencies and megahertz and all that stuff. Radio waves and UHF, VHF. As far as I know, VHF stands for very high frequency, and UHF stands for, what is it? Something high frequency. But one's high frequency, one's low. It's kind of reminds me of like Wi-Fi. It's almost like the same, where you have 3G, or is it 3G and then 5G, or is it 4G? I want to say it like skips one. But 5G is basically it's kind of like more powerful, but less. Oh gosh, I can't remember. I'm not even going to try, but see, I'm just not good at that stuff. Girl Carpenter, what's up, man? Haven't been on YouTube lately. Hope everyone is well. We're doing pretty good. Family's doing good. I got a weird thing going on, like with my neck, and I'm like a hypochondriac. When I get like a little pain, or that something weird, like I just immediately start jumping to all kinds of conclusions, like, oh man, I'm dying for sure. So I've had this weird, because I got this weird pain in my neck, and it feels like maybe I pulled the muscle, but what's strange, it's just been like I've had it for like 5 days. When I first got it, it was really bad, and it was like turned into a sore throat, and then it slowly started getting better, and right now it's like, it's really strange, because if I turn my head, I can feel it. I swallow, I can feel it, but if I turn my head this way, I don't feel it. And I can swallow and it's fine. And then when I touch my neck right here, it hurts. So I don't know if it's like an infection or it's just really strange. Because sometimes if I turn my head and like really stretch my neck and then come back, it'll be gone. Like the pain's gone. I don't even feel it. But then I'll sit and wait, and then it'll be really bad. And then when I wake up in the morning, sometimes it's worse and sometimes it's better. So I don't know. I'm like all freaked out. I'm not going to a doctor if that's what you guys are going to suggest. I'm going to wait until blood starts pouring out of my eyes. I think I'll just keep drinking coffee. It'll go away. I'm like on this parasite kick, so I think everything is parasites. When something weird happens, you start speculating. Like I start thinking about like, what did I eat? Did I eat anything weird? Did I do anything weird? I mean, it is cold out. I was doing a job, like I'm doing this job. I was scraping a ceiling, like a gnarly, like popcorn ceiling. I hope I don't go like mesothelioma or something. But and I was like I did some like ivermectin, like I was saying, but I didn't complete the the full phase of the whatchamacallit. What do they call that when you get like a cycle, right? Do a full cycle. I guess with ivermectin to do like a full cycle, a full cleanse, it's like 4 weeks or something. It's like a month. You should be on it for like a month minimum, something like that. And I only did it for 2 weeks. So then I was like, maybe I just pissed off all the parasites, and like they like scrambled and then just went into my neck. Oh, the mind of a mentally ill prepper. UHF is ultra high frequency. You're lying. That sounds familiar. I'd look it up, but then I'd have to get off of my live stream here. I should have another laptop. I don't know. I need to get back on my I wasn't like on carnivore or anything. I was just like on almost kind of like an Atkins diet, where it's just very, very low carb diet. It's definitely trying to stay away from sugar as much as I can. It's so hard to like do diets in the wintertime because you're just stuck in the house, especially when your wife is like a maniac baker and she's like baking chocolate muffins every day. Dude, it sucks. I think the only thing that keeps me in line is just reading comments, YouTube comments about how disgustingly obese I am. You guys ever want motivation to lose weight? Start a YouTube channel. If you're like 10 pounds overweight, you'll just read comments about how fat you are. There's like a whole section. It's funny. I discovered this like in this first year I was doing YouTube. And there's actually a section where you set your comments to be like, it can be like no comments, or like you let some through, but they're kind of censored. or you can just let them all come through. And I was like in the middle one, okay, we'll censor some stuff that, might seem bad, but, and so I just thought those comments were just being thrown away by YouTube, but they were actually going into some file. And I made the mistake of opening up that file of like rejected comments. Oh, that was bad. If you are a thin-skinned person, you wouldn't survive that. But yeah, it was mostly, and I was just thinking like, God, I'm like maybe 15 pounds overweight, like 10 pounds. I'm like 180. I'm 5'10", 180. So, I think like 170, 175 is kind of my weight, my healthy weight. Get checked out. You never, okay. See, that is what I shouldn't even be sharing my health with you guys. Now you're just going to be freaking me out. I think I'll be okay. At this point, like I know if I went to a doctor, they would, I'm going to go to a doctor and be like, I have a little pain like in my neck and it seems to be getting better, but they would just shoo me away. It'd be a point. I know what the doctors are going to do. So I'll wait for some other symptoms because right now it's like I don't have any other associated symptoms with this thing. And it does seem to be going away. And the other thing is if I take some aspirin, it'll just be gone and there'll be like no pain. Not that that's like a, I'm not looking at it like a cure because the aspirin is terrible for your liver and stuff, and your kidneys. So, but if any sort of symptoms if it gets worse, or if I start getting some symptoms that are associated with it that are weird, like blood starts pouring out of my eyes or my ears, then I'll maybe do something. But they always say, I look up a lot of the symptoms for like really bad things, and they always say like usually it's going to be associated with some pretty major stuff. Like loss of appetite is usually like a pretty good indication that something's not going right. If the pain starts getting really severe and you can't even touch your chin to your chest, whatever, things like that, you start getting blurry vision, which I already have because I'm got old man eyes now. But anything else starts happening, I feel like then maybe I'll see a doctor. But that's how I always just kind of diagnose our dog. I go, hey, is she still wagging her? Is she still eating? She's fine. So you got an appetite, you're good to go. I feel like when you lose your appetite, that's when things are not good. Or if you have no energy. But my energy is good. Everything else is good. Yeah, they give me medicine. It would be like worthless. You guys all know my story with my whole world with the doctors is just completely gave up on that. I wouldn't go back to the doctors for anything unless it was something severe. I got a bone shooting out of my arm or something. Sour cherry juice. Yeah, I think I almost feel like this might be kind of like a lung thing too. It kind of feels almost like a respiratory thing. So I might look into doing some type of lung cleanse. The other thing that's going on, this is really weird, and it's something that I kind of wanted to post to see if there's other people that are experiencing this. Is that all of a sudden, this is like 3 months ago or more, but 3-4 months ago, I started like sleeping. I started breathing through my mouth, which I never did. But when I sleep, I'd wake up and my mouth would just be bone dry as if I was just sleeping like with my mouth open. And it just started like totally out of the blue. Like one day I woke up with just a bone dry mouth, and from that day on it's been bone dry where I had to put tape over my mouth to keep my mouth closed at night. So I don't do that. And I don't know what's been happening there. And I actually went on a diet because, like I was saying, I'm only like maybe 10 pounds overweight. I got on a diet. I actually lost my weight, got down to 175. And to think like maybe it's just a little extra weights causing this, because I know like with sleep apnea and stuff, that's usually the culprit is just weight gain, too much weight. The only thing I could think that happened is that like my father actually ended up getting diagnosed with sleep apnea, and I guess that's like a thing I started seeing online. All these people getting diagnosed, like men mostly getting diagnosed with sleep apnea, and like men who are in good shape, like just Joe Rogan, I guess, he has sleep apnea, and he's in like supreme top tier shape. So I don't know what's causing that, what that's all about. But like I said, my dad got diagnosed with it, and he ended up getting that breathing machine. And I tried it just to see what it was like, because he was like, hey, I tried this out, and it seemed like that's when it started. It's almost as if like something like that machine like started the whole process. I don't know. Probably sounding like a complete lunatic right now. But I don't know what happened. So, right, I'm wondering if that's causing it, So hit the like button, you guys. Yeah. Girl Carpenter. Yeah, hit the like button. Or even better, hit the little money button. What do they call that? Super chats? Do I even have super chats here? Bing. Oh, I got a little here. Look, I even like myself. Oh, I didn't even look at me telling you guys to hit the thumbs up button. I didn't even thumbs up myself. Yeah, and subscribe while you're at it. It's crazy. I probably have like, I don't know, 15 million views on my channel altogether, maybe more. It is, yeah, YouTube's a strange thing. Millions of views, and not that I'm complaining. I got 71,000 subscribers, which is, 71,000 subscribers more than I thought I'd get. I started this channel like I wasn't even, when I did this channel, I did a video of this prepper pantry just because I was bored. Like one night I was like, I'm going to go do a video on my prepper pantry just because I was like proud of it. I don't know, just wanted to do the video. And then that video ended up getting, like a lot of views. I got like 12,000 views, which was like insane, I'm like, oh my God, I got like 12,000 views on this video. Like, that's nuts. And I ended up getting, like 250 subscribers from that. And, at the time I was just like blown away, like, wow, maybe I got something here. And so I just stuck with it because I kind of like making the videos. And, the rest is history, as they say. I'd like to think I'm getting a little bit better, but I'm grateful. So for everybody that subscribes to the channel, you're the best. My followers, my subscribers are the best. JP, 71,000. Yeah, buddy. Did I already say Gregory Hall recommends cherry juice? Did I just click timeout on that? Just in Time says, sugar feeds the parasites. Unfortunately, pine needle tea is anti-parasitic. Use blue spruce. Interesting. Yeah, I know about the sugar feeding the parasites. That's something that's like new to me, and that made me really start like because a lot of this stuff you hear and then you start, basically, uh, kind of working it into your own experiences. And, I've talked about this before, but like I had ulcerative colitis for 7 years, and like I almost died from it. It was severe, and I ended up healing it. And at the time, the books that I read, the source material that I came across, and fortunately for me, the books that I read, the first ones that I read, were the right ones, and it put me on a course, because I was so skeptical of like the whole idea of diet being something that could cure that situation. One, because every single doctor that I talked to said literally verbatim to my face, your diet has nothing to do with your condition. Your diet has absolutely nothing to do with your colitis. And so just that alone made me not even entertain idea as diet as a solution for that illness. But it got to a point where I was ready to go have surgery. I was going to go have like intestines taken out, essentially. Okay. That ugly situation. Then and I was doing the research, almost like ready to make an appointment, because I was so sick. I was so anemic just from losing blood, just no energy. It was bad. Then I'm getting ready to do this surgery and just thinking how horrible it's going to be, to have this colostomy, bag and everything that goes along with that. That I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna. Why not? Like, I'll just explore this diet thing. And so went on Amazon, I think, looked up, diet healing colitis. First book that pops up. Um, it was a small book too, and it was like the first chapter. Just boom, sucked me right in, because the guy was talking about everything that I was hearing from the doctors. And it was like, he starts out by saying like this, where I was at, exactly where I was at. So that got my interest. Start reading, basically got on this diet. He was like, basically this is candida. You're having a candida issue. You need to get off carbs, stop eating bread, da 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 da. And you got to start, implementing this probiotics, this strand of probiotics. I always forget the name, but you got two different types. You probably have more than two different types that come from dairy, like yogurt. And then you had the probiotics that come from fermentation, like sauerkraut. And that was the probiotics that I was bringing in. So I ended up just getting rid of all the carbs, eating a ton. Actually, at the beginning, it was salt, a lot of salt, because the salt is going to kill uh, the candida that's already in place, kill off all the starch that was in my intestines. And then once all that was dead, start implementing the probiotics, and it cured me. I've told this story, so I won't get into it, but um oh yeah, almost forgot what I was saying here. So years later, so I cure it, da 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 da. I come across that same kind of thing about somebody saying that parasites, um they feed off sugar. And that started getting me thinking. It was like, maybe that was almost what was going on. Maybe like, because they were saying, well, like what they were saying that was causing the ulcers. And so for those of you who don't know, like what ulcers are, at least the ulcers I had are, what they look like under a microscope, on a camera, is it looks like scratching. It looks like somebody took a piece of sandpaper and went like that to the inside wall of your intestine. It's kind of gross. But it's, a lot of people probably think ulcers are like round. They're not. It's usually just small little, looks like abrasions. Now, if you look zoomed in really close, it probably is tiny little round dots. But I started thinking about that, and it was like, yeah, they would get active. Like, what would be creating that? What would be like tearing at the inside wall the intestines, like almost looks like something was eating away at it. And the the analysis from the diet standpoint was that it's the starch. Hopefully this is interesting, guys. It was fascinating to me, and if the people out there might be struggling with this, just this could whatever information save you. But they were saying that what was it? It was whatever eats the bacteria. I forget what this is called, but it's something that eats, like the starch that eats the bacteria. It eats up all the good bacteria. And then is it the alcohol? Like, I want to say it's whatever comes from the starch. They call it candida, but it's almost like the same process when you're making bread, kind of the same process, but like it eats up all the bacteria. And that's what was going on. And then once all the good bacteria was gone, it started eating away at the interior wall of my intestines. And the whole premise of it didn't really make, I mean, it kind of made sense, and I didn't really even care why it was happening. I was just glad that it was gone. It was that what they recommended was working. But I won't go too into it because it actually does start getting gets pretty gross. But that was the theory. But anyways, I started thinking like, yeah, the whole parasite thing actually makes a whole lot more sense. And for those of you guys who aren't, haven't looked into that, the amount of different ailments and conditions that have been associated with parasites is just out of the world. It's crazy. And you're not going to hear, it doesn't come from, you're not going to hear about this stuff from like a medical standpoint, because it's just not something that they research. They're about, like, the medical community is about medicine, like pharmaceuticals and surgery. That's it. They're not looking at diet, even if they say they are. They're not looking at diet. They're not looking at parasites. They're not looking at like any type of holistic alternative medicine. It's cutting stuff out and giving pills. That's it. So they're always going to be looking at your health condition from those two worlds. So keep that in mind. So even if you have like some parasite going on, they're not even going to know, because they're not even going to be looking for it. Even if you ask them, they're not going to look for it. So a lot of this stuff, we're just forced to research on our own. But thankfully, we're living in this time where we have these platforms and we can share this information and, hopefully heal each other. Because the thing is too, it's like, especially when it comes to like these natural drugs or natural remedies and diets, it's like, what do you have to lose? I mean, I don't feel like there's any harm in me, anybody like recommending like, hey, eat better, or don't eat this, stay away from these foods, because like, what, like, worst case scenario, what, you lose weight? I mean, really? So there's no side effects, as far as I know, with changing your diet up. Whereas like with medicine, there's all kinds of side effects. Homestead Healing says lectin. Lactobacillus, right. That's the bacteria that comes from fermentation. That's why sourdough bread is better for you than non-sourdough bread, is because it's a fermenting process. And that's why I can actually eat sourdough bread. But if I eat wheat bread or white bread or anything like that, I can't do it. Sourdough bread is pretty much the only thing I can eat. And I'm trying to like not really eat very much of it. Are there any public GMRS repeaters? I don't know. In my area, I gotta look into it. But usually, if there are, like I said, they're gonna be something that you gotta pay into. And I'm sure it's probably not a big fee. It's probably like $12 a year. It's probably something simple, but the only way you're going to have a GMRS repeater in your area is you have a bunch of like GMRS guys that are totally nerded out on it. Even the area where I first started learning about GMRS, and this reminds me of something else I was going to mention. The area that I learned about GMRS, the guy that programmed all my radios for me 6 years ago, because all my radios, all my GMR or all my Baofangs are all programmed, but they're all programmed to frequencies that are for a little further north of me. So a lot of them are still good, like all the FRS frequencies, GMRS frequencies are good, but there was no repeater where we were, and he had wanted to put one in, but I don't think he could find enough guys into it. But I remember him telling me that he knew that how much money it was going to cost to do it properly. So you just got to try to get into the ham radio guys are going to be the ones that are going to be doing it, if at all. But that guy that did that was bad news, and maybe one day I'll tell you that story. But I'll tell you this: there's a lot of undercover agents up in far north Idaho, where the Ruby Ridge stuff took place. Bad news, but he was one of them. There's a lot of, and this was back when things were, pretty. There was a lot of crazy stuff going on. It was like 2011, 2012, and yeah. But there are a lot of dark operations going on up in that area that thankfully I was able to dodge. But they were doing a lot of entrapment type stuff up there. I missed a live. Forrest says, "Dang, I missed a live." Well, I'm still here. The GMRS repeater on Rathdrum, huh? I'll look into it. I'm just like, once I get these things down, like one of the goals I have is I'm going to learn how to program these radios myself through Chirp. So that's what I'm working on right now, and just learning that program. Like I said, I just bought the programming cable. I had a programming cable for these radios, but it was the wrong one. I guess you need to make sure you have the right cable, that you have because there's actually a chip, like a microchip, in these cables that you have to have in order to program these radios correctly. And you want to make sure that they are applicable to whatever software. So if you're running Mac, you want to make sure that you have the one that is, can run off the iOS platforms and Windows. So hopefully I got the right one. We'll see. It has a little driver software in here that makes me a little skeptical. Like maybe I got the wrong one, because there were guys saying like you shouldn't have to put in a disk, to prime. Like it should just cable. This should just be like you download your Chirp program, and then you plug in your cable, and you should be good to go. I don't know what this disk is for, so I don't know. Hopefully I got the right one. Whatever. I'll just send it back if it's not right. But the other thing I was going to mention real quick. So, and this is something I just learned. These GMRS, the UV5Rs. This is a hams radio. Okay. So if you don't have a ham license, you cannot transmit on this radio. I don't know if I mentioned that. I thought that as long as you could, if you had GMRS frequencies programmed in here and FRS frequencies, that you could, but you can't. even if you're transmitting on an FRS frequency or like a CB frequency on here, you can't use this radio. So oh, I have a GMRS. I can transmit on it GMRS frequencies on this radio. No, you can't. You want to transmit on GMRS, you got to have a GMRS radio. Legally. Not you can. I can talk to somebody on a GMRS frequency through here, but because I don't have my license, I can't. So that's why these radios are locked. And you probably should keep them locked unless you have a ham license, because you don't want your kid. You don't even want to take the risk of like one of your kids or somebody getting a hold of this radio and it being unlocked, and you have emergency frequencies on here, and you start interrupting those. You could interrupt a call and get somebody hurt. So you got to be careful with these radios. So, but that was the other thing I was going to mention, because I wasn't even clear on that. I thought so long as I was transmitting on GMRS or FRS, I was okay to use this radio, but no. So something to know. But definitely get them anyways, because you need these to listen and keep tabs on what's going on. This is going to be your scanner, so they're important to have. Man, it's getting cold in here. Now I know what all my canned food feels like. Oh, all right, guys. Well, let me know if you have any questions for me. It smells like dinner. I can smell my dinner upstairs. It's 8:43. Holy smokes. Neil Ramirez says chirp is pretty easy to use. Make sure it's an FTDI cable. It's a Baofeng. I mean, Baofeng makes it. I made sure of that. I don't know. Just says Baofeng Abri, which is a type of antenna. I don't know. It says PL2303 chip drive free support Windows. So we'll see. I mean, either it's going to work or it's not going to work. I thought I did my homework pretty good on it before I bought that, but yeah. Even with a ham license, it's not legal because the radio has to be a type accepted radio. Really? I've never heard that one. Are you sure about that? That would be new to me. I would be surprised if that was true. It could be true, but can you give tips on how to start prepping, as I love your stuff, but I live in the UK and have no clue? Hey, UK has like the biggest prepping movement next to ours. I remember like you have a general class ham radio license. Yeah, I mean, that would be totally news to me. If you have a ham license and you can't transmit on this legally. I don't know. I wouldn't even know why that would be illegal. But I don't know. I trust you. Sort of. Yeah, I remember. So back to the UK thing. You can't transmit on FRS or GMRS. Huh? You can't transmit on FRS or GMRS. Sorry. Yeah, you can't. Well, you can't transmit on this radio at all if you don't have a license. But you're saying you can't, even if you have a license, you can't transmit on it. That's news to me because it's not a type. Aren't there like 3 different? See, this is okay. You guys can battle that one out. So starting prepping, I always say just when you're getting into prepping, just start with an EDC. I always tell people just put together a basic EDC. It doesn't have to be a bag like this, but it's a good bag to start. And the reason why I tell people just to start with an EDC is because usually your EDC consists of stuff you already have, so you don't even have to go shopping. So you can you can start doing it right now. But it's just kind of that mentality where you're going to start putting your supplies in order. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the mindset, but it really does start with that. Your everyday carry, the things that you have with you all the time. So for you guys in the UK, I don't know where that would start, but obviously having some means of defense is going to be part of your EDC, but obviously you want to be in compliance with whatever laws are in your area. But you can start out with just some basic pepper spray as a means of defense. I don't know if this is legal in your neck of the woods or if you guys are just been reduced to like slingshots and and bows. But I will say one of the guys, I know that there's a big movement because some of the most famous bushcrafters and survivalists came from the UK. One, I always forget his name because he's got like an English name, but what was it? Oh gosh, what's his name? And it's kind of sad. He was like the original bushcrafter. Let me know if you know who I'm talking about. I want to say, oh man, I hate my brain. I used to watch him all the time. I want to say his first name began with a B. It wasn't Bear Grylls, by the way. Bear Grylls ended up kind of taking over the whole, the spotlight of Bush. That was so lame. I mean, he's cool, but he's just kind of a LARPer. Just kind of over sensationalized and just made it gimmicky. And then there's the Les Shroud, I think that guy, but he's American. But there was another guy who's from the UK. He's like the original. I want to say like the original bushcrafter guy. Let's see if anybody say it. No, not Bjorn. Ugh. If you guys think of it, let me know. But there was the first prepping channels I remember starting to watch. A lot of them were coming out of the UK, and there was that guy, the Funky Prepper. Remember him? And he was actually on because when prepping started kind of getting popular again, and the Discovery Channel was doing, this is like even before they did Doomsday Preppers, they were just doing basic documentaries on preppers. They think it was the Discovery Channel, and then they ended up, because it generated so much popularity and interest from YouTube, they ended up doing the Doomsday Prepper show and did like a full show on it. But before that got going, they were just doing these basic documentaries. And one of the guys that they were following in the UK was this guy, Funky Prepper, and he had like these big bulgy eyes, kind of a goofy looking guy. That's why he named him Funky, because he was funky looking. But he had a cool setup, he had like a really cool rig. Like he had like a totally tricked out, like modified, like Toyota pickup. And it was pretty cool. He's a cool guy. But those videos were funny because they'd all go out and then, the only weapons you guys could have were like pellet guns. So like, the whole air gun thing is like huge in the UK because it's the one, firearm that they can own legally. So they get serious, you know, and some of these, like, these air guns, I mean, are powerful. Like, they definitely kill you for sure. And you got like a right headshot. You know, some of those high powered 22 pellets can be pretty lethal. So they get really serious about their air guns over there. But they, you know, there's pretty big like bushcrafting communities over there, survivalist communities, and they like got hardcore. They all had like really nice rigs. Is something I always appreciated. Like really cool vehicles. All had like bug out vehicles, and they all get together, go out in the mountains, and do campouts and stuff. So Ray Mears, yeah, there it is. Bada bing, bada bang. Ray Mears. Yeah, he's cool, man. Watch some Ray Mears stuff on YouTube. Like that, he's like the real deal with bushcrafting. Like he really is out there like making the stuff. Like you're gonna learn survival like from anybody, learn it from him. I mean, and the stuff that he is doing, it really is. It's like next level type bushcraft. It's not, you know, the larpy stuff or the boring stuff that you just see on YouTube all the time. Like he's really doing crazy stuff. He's got skills that very few survivalists have. And that guy, he like really knows his wild edibles and all that stuff. Ray Mears. Liam Sansbury. Bug Out Shop? I don't know what that is. But yeah, I would just start with the EDC, and then like, you know, what I did. But like I said, like I was talking about, you know, when I started prepping, I was in a very unique situation where I already had like a pretty good you know, idea of like how to prep for the most part, and things like that, because this is kind of part of my background. I've always been into this. I think I've talked about this before, but even like when I was a little kid, like I was like when I was 7 years old, or 9 years old, me and my friend would get on. We'd take a bus from our, you know, our town to the next city over just to go to the surplus store, and we would just be like stocking up on like military surplus stuff. And I had like I mean, like, you know, full BDUs, ponchos, backpacks. Like I still have like my original Alice pack from when I was, you know, 8, 9 years old, and we would, you know, that's how I grew up. We'd just go out in the woods like every single weekend, and we had BB gun wars and camp out, and yeah, it was crazy. Like we get the face paint, and we were just like all decked out. And I did that until like junior high, you know, almost too long. It was, you know, you start getting closer and closer to high school, and like it's harder to find those friends that are just still die hard. You know, they're like, no, it's got to be about girls now. And then the girls came into the scene, just ruined everything. And then guys had to stop wearing camo. We all had to start wearing skinny jeans and cologne. Am I out of coffee? But yeah, so like that situation, I just happened to be in a unique situation when I started prepping, where I already had a little bit of background of what I was going to need. And my overhead was really low because I was living in a storage unit, and I just paid off all my debt. And I was making a lot of money, because even in 2011, when the economy was like crap everywhere else in America, because I was living in like the lion's den, I was in Marin County, California. It was just like, you know, the bluest of the blue. They were happy that Obama was president. And so the economy was doing real well there. Everybody was stimulated and eager to spend money because their guy was in the White House, and and that's where all the money was, where I was, Marin County, California, richest people on the face of the earth. And so yeah, I was in this situation where I was around the richest people in the world, and they were all ecstatic about their guy being in the White House. So they were spending money like crazy, and I happened to be, right then and there. So I was getting big jobs, and I was just killing it. So I had a lot of extra money, and so I was able in that year to just basically buy everything. I'll never forget, there was this one order I came in. I was like, I bought my Ontario, that Rat 7. It's actually one of my favorite knives. I don't think it's in here. I think it's in my garage. But I bought that knife. I bought a gas mask. I bought my plate carrier. I bought like 30 round, a bunch of 30 round mags, ammo. I mean, it was like this huge order of just survival goods, like ghillie suits. I mean, it was crazy. And so I pretty much got almost like everything that I needed from that period of time. And then I started doing the 5 gallon buckets. A lot of these 5 gallon buckets up here, well, actually not, there's not very many left, but there are still some 5 gallon buckets up there from 2011 that are good. I actually checked this stuff out. I just opened up a bucket of rice from 2011 that was perfectly fine, and I opened up a bucket of oatmeal from 2011 that was perfectly good. Ate it. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. I was almost zero deterioration. So, I just watched a few videos on how to you get the 5 gallon buckets with the Mylar bags. You get, start out with the 5 gallon Mylar bags, and I still pretty much seal up my food the same way. I just use a regular clothes iron. I don't do the, flat iron. I just do a clothes iron, and I just kind of set it up away. Maybe I did a video on it, I think. They're kind of boring to do those videos, but I just set it up so I pour all my rice or whatever in my 5 gallon Mylar bag, and then fold over the top of the Mylar bag, iron it, put a couple oxygen absorbers in there. Just got to know what CC oxygen absorbers to use, what not to use oxygen absorbers on. So you don't need oxygen absorbers with salt or sugar, but you should use them with rice and flour and beans. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But I'd start there, EDC, and then start doing 5 gallon buckets of essential foods like beans, flour, rice, whatever those basic things that you eat. You want that filler food, and then the idea is you supplement that filler food with the canned food. So for instance, a meal in a really bad situation is going to be comprised of mostly rice or beans or both, and then something like a broth, some seasoning, and then maybe some chicken. So you'd have some canned chicken that you can supplement that with. So that's kind of the idea. For you wondering, as far as food goes, is that you're compiling a food pantry that just consists of staple filler foods like rice, beans, or whatever. What's the other stuff that people like? I know there's a higher protein stuff. The brown rice doesn't last as long. There's certain things that don't have as long as a shelf life. That's why you go with the white rice, because it has a really long shelf life. And if you want to do now it's kind of the deals are lost, but like when I started, you could get number 10 cans for like $12.95. Like I could get a number 12 can of Mountain House Primavera pasta for like $12.95, or even cheap. I think I got some, and then I buy the cases. I get a whole case of number 10 cans of Mountain House whatever for like $50 or something. Insane. And those days are long gone, unfortunately. And then there was the what was the other thing? The cannery, the Mormon, the LDS cannery, when that was still a deal. And I think it is. I haven't been over there in years, but you can go to the LDS website. You can still order stuff from them. and still cheap, somewhat cheap, not as cheap as it was, but you could get a case of number 10 cans of carrots or onions or potatoes for like like $20 or something. It was really cheap. So I remember ordering that. It was funny, like being a prepper in 2011 was, especially in California, in Marin County, and I was, like I said, I was living in this storage unit, and I'd have my stuff get shipped, and I was ordering stuff that it would all get shipped to the office of the storage unit, and a lot of this stuff like wasn't being boxed. It was just, oh, here's, why did you order 5 cases of number 10 cans of potatoes? It's like, mind your business. So people were definitely looking at me a lot stranger then than now. A lot of those people now finally, 15, 10, whatever years later, looking at things a little differently. All right, it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to be ending this, but I'll read a couple more things here and then I'm going to check out. So hopefully I've answered that question from 5 years ago. It's EDC, and then I would say, yeah, EDC, and then start doing your 5-gallon buckets, and then water. And basically you're just going to be prepping around the space that you have available, and then whatever. But my big goal, especially with prepping, I mean, if you can get out of debt, is like huge. I mean, if you want to go hardcore, I would say make getting out of debt your goal. Make your living situation completely debt free. Because that was my goal. Debt free. And then as far as my food supply goes, it was like, I was never shooting for anything crazy, like a year's worth of food or 3 years worth of food. To me, like, now I know what I know. It's just too much food. That food's going to go bad. It's just going to go bad. And unless you're eating canned food every day, which I wouldn't recommend, that you're just not going to cycle through that much food. It's just too much food. So I'm at a place right now. This is actually about a 4-month food supply for our entire family, maybe 5 months, something like that. And we can cycle through this, and just barely, because a lot of it's not food that we eat all the time. So, and plus I have a lot of freeze dried food up there that I never eat. And I got freeze dried food up there. It's almost to its shelf life. I've had it for so long. But the freeze dried food, they say, goes up to 20 years, but I mean, it lasts obviously way longer than that, but 20 years is kind of the point in which I think it just starts to deteriorate as far as its nutritional value is concerned. But you could probably eat freeze-dried food that's in a number 10 can that's like 100 years old, probably. I don't think anybody's ever tested that, but I'd imagine freeze-dried food in a number 10 can with oxygen absorbers is going to last indefinitely. Gary Macias, hello from California. Tactical Muffin Top, what's up? Liam Sandberry says, not in debt, thankfully. I'm 22 and debt free. Good. Just stay that way. Save money. It was actually a kid that actually emailed me, like a young kid. He was 15, and he was asking for advice to like start prepping or something. And I was like, tempted. I'm like, I'm 15. It's pretty young. I shouldn't even be talking to you. But what I would say to 15-year-old me, I would say, dude, like, get debt free. Get debt free. Save your money. Put it into a house. Buy property. Invest in some precious metals, for sure. I say, you know, as far as the 3 year, I always say, you know, precious metals, if you want something good to go by, like a basic standard, like how much precious metals should I get 3 years worth of whatever the property tax is on your home, the home that you think that you're going to be bugging. In other words, the home or wherever you think you're going to be bugging in to, if things go south, wherever you're going to be, if ideally is pay that house off so you don't owe anything other than property tax on that property, and then buy 3 years minimum of gold, silver, or whatever to of property tax. So that makes sense. But in representation, so if your property tax, you know, is $500 a year, then get $1,500 worth of silver. And then that way, worst case scenario, the economy, worst case scenario, economy tanks, you know, the dollar plummets. You got, because there's one thing they say, it's like for certain is death and taxes, there will be a tax man for sure. No matter how bad things get, believe me, there'll be a tax man. So have silver or gold or something to pay that you know what off, because you got to have your property, because in survival it's like goal number one is shelter. If you got it, your shelter has to be secure, and then everything stems from there. So shelter is number one, then water, then food, heat, that kind of thing. So that should be the way you prep. Secure, if you're in prepping, should always be, in my opinion, from the standpoint of getting every level of preparedness to a sustainable place, you know, to where it's self-sustaining, to it's as secure as it can possibly be. So your property, the most secure place it could be, is paid off. You don't owe anything to the banks, and you have something to ward off the tax, the property tax collectors, is for as long as you can. So 3 years minimum, 10 years, whatever the property tax is. And keep in mind, you don't build anything on that property. Maybe it's just property where you're going to be putting a camper or something like that. You don't have to owe any property tax, because my uncle actually has property to the north of me, and he's got nothing on that property, and he's not renting it out or anything. So the property tax is like $500 a year or something. I mean, it's cheap to own that land. And that's his bug out land. So if anything happens, he's just going to go there. Claudia H. Costco carries the small harvest right for $1,500. I saw that. I was at Costco today. I was like, whoa, they're selling freeze dryers. Like, that was crazy. Our Costco is pretty good. Like, we actually have, like, they sell a lot of emergency food. They sell the Mountain House. They sell, what's the other one? The other company, I can't remember. But they sell a lot of different emergency foods there, freeze-dried foods. And they sell the ammo crates there for super cheap. You know, those big plastic, those crates where you can carry all the different ammo cans. They sell those there for really cheap. And yeah, now they're selling the freeze dryers. That's pretty cool. I don't have freeze dryer money. I'm waiting for a freeze dry company to come and ask me to do a review. That's the only way I'm going to get a freeze dryer. Is if Harvest Right emails me and says, hey, you want a freeze dryer in exchange for a video? I'm doing it. But yeah, that's the only way I'm getting one of those. Excuse me. It's the only way I have a solar generator. I don't think I would have ever bought. Well, I would have probably bought a small solar generator, but I do these, generator videos, and that's the thing too. It's like these things aren't in my budget. You know, especially that last one, the Delta 3. I don't have that kind of money, you guys, for a $3,500 solar generator. So the only way I'm getting stuff like that is by doing videos on it. But I don't think those freeze dry companies, because I think those, the thing is too with those freeze dryers, I think they're made in America. That's another reason why they're so expensive. And it's kind of weird that um, that they're that they haven't, you know, been, they haven't had China, like China hasn't come and made a freeze dryer yet. Because if that happens, they'll just be done. Be hard to compete. I might be wrong about that. Liam Sanisbury. So you're from the UK, Liam? I'm assuming. Food is cheap over here. Can of soup is 30p, 50 cent. Wow, that's pretty good. That's the one thing about Idaho is like our food is expensive. Like I love people from California come visit me and they're like, they go grocery shopping and they're like, damn, like you guys are paying a lot of money. Plus we get taxed on our food, which is nuts. Everything else is relatively cheap. But food, they just hammer us. But our gas is cheap. People pay through the nose for gas in California. Dom says, I got my solar generator at Costco. Yeah, I saw a couple of solar generators there. They had the whatchamacallits. Oh man. Can't think of it. Jackeries. See, I one thing I'm always hesitant to do these live streams. I'm like, my audience is going to see how terrible my brain works. Because there's no editing here. You guys have no idea. Just remember that when the next video, like usually, especially like with my intro where I go, hey everyone, Joe here with the Idaho Prepper channel. Today we're going to be blah, 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 blah. That, like that's probably like 80 takes. And the worst is when I have to start those videos outside and it's like 40 degrees outside. Oh, and I'm just like, I keep screwing it up. I'm just getting colder and colder. Yeah. I think, you know, someone was saying like, well, whatever, I'm going to get in that. I keep saying I'm going to check out of this live stream, but Claudia says, I am looking on getting one of the new Pro versions. The XL is more my speed. I don't think Blue Alpine gets that big. Oh, you're talking about the food things. Yeah, the 40 degrees is summer, dude. Yeah, so it is. Yeah. I just, you know, the other thing is why I would never like the freeze dryers is like I don't really do well with freeze dried food, to be honest. I'd like to have, I mean, it'd be nice, whatever, I guess, but I don't, I mean, eat the freeze dried food. If I eat freeze dried food for like more than 2 days, it starts, I mean, even freeze dried food at all is not, it gives me really bad indigestion because they just have so much sodium. Oh, they have oilless pumps in the freeze dryers now, because I knew that was kind of a point of contention there with those units is the oil. You end up spending a lot of money on all of the components that you need, like the oil and stuff. And then I assume that you probably probably pay a good amount of money just running the generator, you know, the electricity that they use up, because what does it take, like a whole day or something or more, at least 24 hours to freeze dry one crate full of food or whatever. Yeah, I was doing I have a dehydrator, you know, for those of us for those fancy freeze dryers, just do a dehydrator. Dehydrator is better for you anyways. Obviously, dehydrating your food doesn't last nearly as long as the freeze dried stuff, but you know, if you do it right, and the thing about dehydrating food is the idea is you just want to stay away from fatty food. So you can dehydrate banana chips. I do all my beef jerky in my dehydrator. It's actually, that's what it's best for, is making jerky. But you can do soups, all kinds of stuff in the dehydrators. And I actually made some meals, like I did like some chili and stuff like that. And you can actually dehydrate you know, anything with like fat, and it just doesn't last long at all. So you gotta, you know, if you're doing it for like a backpacking trip, like let's say, hey, I'm gonna go on a backpacking trip next weekend. Yeah, dehydrate it all, and put it in a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber, and that will last, you know, about a week maybe. I probably wouldn't let it go much longer than that. Because the thing is, with the fat, it will go right. Because with the dehydrators, it doesn't ever fully dehydrate the fat. The fat will always stay supple or whatever. You know what I mean? It will always, and once, if that's the case, then it always has the potential for going rancid or getting mold. So it's just never, you know, there will always be like a level of moisture there. But if you're doing stuff that's just like water-based foods, like fruits, those will last a long time if you store them correctly in the Mylar bags. Yeah. So, but having a dehydrator is good, especially if you're doing jerky. It's the best. Way better than using an oven. All right. Well, I think I'm up to speed on all the comments here. But it's been fun, you guys. Let me know if you guys want to do more live streams like this. I know these live streams aren't for everybody. They're not exciting. They're not action packed. I'm not, you know, going off and touching on all the controversial stories that are taking place in the media. Really just doing these to touch base with you guys. So, more live streams. More better. I'm glad you like it. That's almost like my motto for when I go working. I always say, the more money, the better. The more money I make painting houses, the better it is for me to paint. The last job I was just finishing a contract on a job. Ugh, and I'm such an idiot. Like, I forgot to include the paint. And I like knew, like it didn't even dawn on me until like days later. I was like thinking about them, like, God, I don't remember including the paint. Like, why would I have forgotten that? And I went through my notes. Sure enough, I remembered the paint on one portion of it, but there were like 3 rooms I forgot to include material. It's always a big indicator when I get the job immediately, like enthusiastically, when the customer's like, "Oh, right, when can you start?" I'm like, "Oh, geez, what did I do wrong? Why were they so happy about accepting that price?" Oh, that's why I forgot $1,000 worth of paint. No, I didn't. It was only like $200 worth of paint, but still stupid. And the reason I forgot is because the job was mostly repair like related. It was like the paint was kind of whatever. But she's an old lady. I always get these jobs. It's like kind of almost like charity. She's old. Her husband passed away. She's not in a good situation, so it's like whatever. I'm not. It's not a job I'm trying to get rich off of, that's for sure. So if I'm gonna forget products and screw myself out of money, that would be the job I want to do it to. All right, Christian, thank you. Happy to be with you guys for some time. Time is 6:20 a.m. Saturday here in Sweden. Sweden. I just woke up and saw you going live. That's nuts. I want to go to Sweden. How's Sweden? You guys still intact? How are you guys holding up? I tell you, when Sweden goes, it's like that's the end. You just really embody, the West in my mind. But I've never left America, so. Most of the places that I wanted to go and visit, I don't really want to go visit anymore. Especially a lot of the places here, like in Europe, are really just not very European. 5:20 a.m. here in the UK. Good night, all, says Forrest. Thank you, says Christian. I love your videos. I just happened to catch the live stream. Thanks, says Claudia. You should come live more, says Liam. I feel like I'm reading a children's book right now. We are holding up. Good. Sweden. Do you guys have... they let you have guns here. Is it Sweden? Or am I getting that mixed up with something else? But isn't it like Sweden where they like actually make it mandatory? They like make it mandatory to own a gun? Am I getting that mixed up with another place? Switzerland? Is that Switzerland that I'm thinking of? Claudia says, a friend of mine said she didn't like her machine and had no... Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about something else. You're still talking about the freeze dryers. Thought you were talking about the sleep apnea machine there. Huh. All right, guys. That's going to do it for me today. Finland, huh? Guns for hunting, but hard for self-defense. Gotcha. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it. Hope you enjoyed the live stream. I'm not going to be getting a video out this weekend, unfortunately, because I've just had my sight set on this bug out bag. What, did my live stream just kick off? And I want this to be, that's the thing, like part of my ADD. I start thinking about like, this is going to be my next video, and I can't get off of it until it's done. But then I, such a perfectionist, it's like, I got to have everything just right before I do this video. I want to make sure I have everything that I need, because this is going to be kind of a winter version bag, but I don't know. I started dipping into the prepared citizen loadout kit. So, but that's almost more complicated than my bug out. So I'll just, I'll get around to it. Although I'm starting a new job Monday, I'm going to be super busy. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to do this video. At least a proper one. Worst case scenario, I just whatever bite the bullet and I do the video in my pantry. And the lighting is just going to be what it is. But, ideally, I just really wanted to do the bug out bag video like up in the mountains. But right now it's just pouring rain and snow, and the areas everywhere is just mud and slush. And it would be really hard for me to find an area to go out and do a review video on. Because the other thing is, like, when I go do those videos up the mountains, I'm also taking up camera equipment and stuff. So it just gets crazy. But that's going to do it for me today, you guys. I'm going to go eat dinner. It's getting freezing down here. I'm going to get my feet warm. But yeah, I'll try to do live streams like this more in the future. And then I'll, give you guys a little bit more advance notice too before I do it. That way, you guys don't miss out on the live streams. But with that said, until the next time, stay prepared. Gotta end it now.